You actually thought this was a real date?
Why would you do this to me?
You called me here just to humiliate me?
You have no idea who you just insulted. Wait.
That name. Where did you get this?
They thought they had found the perfect woman to humiliate him, but they had no idea what this cruel joke was about to uncover.
Daniel Carter shoved his chair backwards so hard that it scraped across the polished restaurant floor. Everyone at the nearby table stopped talking. Marcus froze with his phone still in his hand. He had been waiting for exactly this moment. For Daniel to see the woman walking toward their table, realize she was the woman they had secretly chosen for him, and finally give them the reaction they had been waiting for all evening. But Daniel wasn't laughing. He wasn't embarrassed. He wasn't even looking at his friends. He was staring at the woman approaching him with an expression none of them understood. Monica Reynolds stopped beside the table. She wore a simple but elegant black dress, her hair neatly styled, and carried herself with a confidence that made several people in the restaurant glance her way. Daniel stood completely still. Then he smiled. Monica. She gave him a cautious smile. Daniel. He stepped around the table. I thought you weren't coming. Marcus's smile disappeared. What? He whispered. Daniel pulled out the chair. Please, sit down. Monica looked at the chair, then at Daniel. You're not surprised? Surprised? Daniel laughed softly. I'm relieved. Across the restaurant, Marcus lowered his phone. His friend Tyler leaned toward him. What's happening? I have no idea. Marcus watched Daniel sit across from Monica. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. They had spent 2 days planning this. They had told Daniel they had found someone who would be perfect for him. They had exaggerated how beautiful she was. They had made sure he would arrive at the restaurant before her. And they had privately joked about what would happen when he discovered that the woman they had described was not what he expected. Marcus had even told Tyler, Daniel is going to lose it. But Daniel wasn't losing anything. He looked happier than he had looked in months. Monica placed her purse beside her. You look different. Daniel smiled. So do you. Different in a good way? Definitely. For the first time that evening, Monica relaxed. But only slightly. Because she had noticed something Daniel hadn't. 3 people were watching them from across the restaurant. She looked toward them. Daniel followed her eyes. His smile disappeared. Who are they? Monica asked. Daniel didn't answer immediately. Instead, he leaned forward. Did they tell you this was a blind date? Monica nodded. They said you were expecting me. Daniel stared at her. They told you that? Yes. He sat back. Something was wrong. Monica noticed the change in his expression. What is it? Daniel glanced toward Marcus. Then back at her. Did anyone tell you why they wanted us to meet? No. Did they say anything about me? Monica hesitated. They said you were successful. Daniel almost laughed. That's all. They also said you were picky. That sounds like Marcus. Monica's eyes narrowed. You know him? He's one of my closest friends. Then why does he look like he wants to crawl under the table? Daniel looked again. Marcus immediately looked away. Daniel sighed. Because something isn't right. Monica slowly folded her hands on the table. I knew there was something strange about this. Daniel looked at her. You knew? I've been on enough blind dates to recognize when people are hiding something. Daniel leaned closer. What did you notice? The way they talked about you. What did they say? Monica looked down for a moment. They said you needed someone who could keep up with your lifestyle. Daniel frowned. They said that? Yes. And they also said I shouldn't be nervous because you were supposedly very open-minded. Daniel's jaw tightened. Monica noticed. Daniel. He looked at her. I think they lied to both of us. Across the restaurant, Marcus finally stood. He whispered to Tyler. This is getting weird. Tyler shook his head. You're the one who arranged it. I arranged a date. I didn't arrange whatever this is. Marcus walked toward them. Daniel. Daniel didn't look up. Marcus. Marcus smiled awkwardly. So, how's everything going? Daniel looked at him. Great. Marcus glanced at Monica. Good. Good. Then he looked at Daniel. Having a nice time? Yes. Marcus's eyes widened. Seriously? Daniel's expression hardened. What exactly did you expect? Marcus laughed nervously. Nothing. You just what? Marcus glanced around. Man, relax. Daniel didn't move. No. You came over here. So talk. Monica remained quiet. Marcus looked uncomfortable. It's just a date. Daniel shook his head. No, it isn't. Marcus swallowed. What do you mean? Daniel pointed toward the empty chair. Sit down. Marcus sat. Daniel leaned forward. Who told you to arrange this? Marcus blinked. Nobody. That's a lie. Daniel. Who? Marcus looked toward Tyler. Tyler immediately looked away. Daniel's voice became quieter. Marcus, if you wanted to introduce me to someone, you could have simply done it. So why did you make it a secret? Marcus rubbed his hands together. We thought you'd appreciate a surprise. A surprise? Yes. Daniel looked at Monica, then back at Marcus. What exactly was supposed to be surprising? Marcus said nothing. Daniel waited. The silence became uncomfortable. Finally, Monica spoke. Daniel. He turned toward her. I think I know. Marcus's face changed. Monica looked directly at him. You weren't expecting him to like me. Marcus opened his mouth. Nothing came out. Monica continued. You wanted to see his reaction when he realized what I looked like. The table went silent. Daniel slowly turned toward Marcus. Is that true? Marcus looked down. Man, it wasn't supposed to be serious. Daniel stood. Answer me. Marcus sighed. Okay. He looked at Monica. We thought. He stopped. Say it. Marcus swallowed. We thought Daniel would be shocked. Monica nodded slowly. Because I'm plus size. Marcus immediately raised his hands. No, that's not. Then what is it? I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? Marcus couldn't answer. Daniel stared at him. Then Monica said quietly. You weren't looking for someone to meet him. You were looking for someone you thought he would be ashamed to be seen with. Marcus looked down. Daniel's face had completely changed. The warmth was gone. He turned to Monica. I'm sorry. She shook her head. Don't apologize for them. I should have known. You couldn't have known. Daniel looked at Marcus. Yes, I could have. Marcus stood. Daniel, come on. We were joking. Daniel's voice was cold. You were joking about a woman you had never even met. Marcus tried to laugh. You're making this bigger than it is. Daniel stepped closer. No. You made it bigger when you decided another person's dignity was entertainment. The restaurant had become unusually quiet. Monica looked at Daniel. Let's go. Daniel turned toward her. Are you sure? Yes. She reached for her purse. But before she could stand, Daniel said something that stopped her. Monica, wait. She looked at him. There is something you don't know. Her expression changed. What? Daniel glanced at Marcus. Then back at her. I already knew your name before tonight. Monica froze. How? Daniel slowly sat down. And for the first time that evening, the woman who had walked into the restaurant believing she was being judged suddenly realized something else was happening. Something much bigger. Because Daniel hadn't reacted to her appearance. He had reacted to her name. And the reason why was connected to someone Monica hadn't seen in nearly 5 years. Someone who had once changed both of their lives. Daniel looked at her. My mother knew you. Monica's face went pale. Your mother? Daniel nodded. Her name was Evelyn Carter. Monica stared at him. Then she whispered, Evelyn. Daniel smiled sadly. You remember her. Monica slowly sat back down. I thought she passed away 2 years ago. Monica covered her mouth. For several seconds, neither of them spoke. Daniel reached into his jacket. I've been trying to find you. Monica stared at the envelope he placed on the table. What is that? Daniel pushed it toward her. My mother's last letter. Monica looked at the envelope but didn't touch it. Why would she write to me? Daniel's eyes filled with emotion. Because she never forgot what you did for her. Monica looked at him. What did I do? Daniel whispered. You saved her. And suddenly, the cruel blind date that had begun as a joke was no longer a joke at all. Monica stared at the envelope for several seconds before finally reaching for it. Her fingers trembled. Your mother wrote this? Daniel nodded. She wrote it 3 weeks before she died. Monica looked at him. I didn't know she was sick. She didn't want anyone to know. Monica lowered her eyes. For a moment, the restaurant disappeared around them. She remembered Evelyn Carter, the woman who had once sat alone in a hospital waiting room, terrified and exhausted. The woman Monica had met on a rainy evening 5 years earlier. The woman she had never expected to see again. Monica slowly opened the envelope. Inside was a single folded sheet of paper. She read the first line. Her eyes immediately filled with tears. Daniel watched her. What does it say? Monica shook her head. I can't. Take your time. She looked at him. She remembered me. Daniel smiled sadly. She remembered everything. Monica wiped her eyes. What happened to her? Daniel leaned back. She had a difficult few years after my father died. She stopped trusting people. She stopped going out. She barely spoke to anyone. Monica remembered. I met her outside a pharmacy. Daniel nodded. She told me. Monica looked surprised. She did. She told me about the woman who sat beside her in the rain. Monica gave a small laugh through her tears. She was crying. I know. She had dropped her medication. I know. I only helped her pick it up. Daniel shook his head. You did more than that. Monica looked down. I stayed with her. Exactly. Monica remembered the evening. Evelyn had been embarrassed. She had apologized repeatedly for crying in front of a stranger. Monica had told her she didn't have to apologize. She had bought her a cup of coffee. They had talked for almost 2 hours. Monica had assumed it was just one small act of kindness. But apparently Evelyn had carried that moment with her for years. Daniel looked at Monica. She said you were the first person who made her feel like she wasn't invisible. Monica's eyes filled again. I didn't know. Daniel smiled. She wanted me to find you. Monica looked at the letter again. Then why didn't you? I tried. What happened? I couldn't find you. Monica gave him a confused look. I never changed my name. I know. But my mother didn't remember your last name. She only remembered Monica. Monica smiled faintly. That sounds like her. Daniel laughed. It took me years. Then a voice interrupted them. Okay, this is getting way too emotional. Marcus. Daniel turned. Marcus was standing a few feet away. Tyler stood behind him. Daniel's expression hardened. What do you want? Marcus raised both hands. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. Monica looked at him. Are you? Marcus hesitated. Yes. Daniel stared at him, then apologized to her. Marcus looked at Monica. I'm sorry. Monica nodded. For what? Marcus sighed. For making you part of a joke. That's not enough. Marcus frowned. What do you want me to say? The truth. Marcus looked uncomfortable. Monica continued. Why did you choose me? He didn't answer. Why me? Marcus glanced at Daniel, then back at her. Because we thought you wouldn't be his type. Daniel's eyes narrowed. And what exactly is my type? Marcus shrugged. You know, women who look like models. Monica nodded slowly. So you judged me before you met me? Yes. The honesty made the room even quieter. Monica took a breath. And you recorded my arrival? Marcus's face changed. Daniel immediately looked at him. You recorded her? Marcus quickly pulled out his phone. It was just supposed to be funny. Daniel stepped toward him. Delete it. Daniel. Delete it. Marcus hesitated. Daniel's voice became firmer. Now. Marcus unlocked his phone. But Monica stopped him. Wait. Daniel looked at her. Monica. She stared at Marcus. Show me the video. Marcus reluctantly turned the phone around. The recording showed Monica entering the restaurant. Marcus had whispered behind the camera. Here she comes. Then Tyler had laughed. Another voice said, look at Daniel's face. Monica watched silently. Then the video showed Daniel standing. But instead of laughing, he smiled. Marcus's voice could be heard saying, what? The video ended. Monica looked at him. You were hoping I would be humiliated. Marcus lowered the phone. Yes. She nodded. That says more about you than it ever could about me. Marcus looked away. Daniel turned toward Monica. You don't have to stay. She looked at him. I know. You don't owe them anything. I know. Then why are you still here? Monica looked down at the letter. Because I came here expecting to be judged. She looked up. And instead, I found someone who knew my name before he saw my body. Daniel smiled. That matters. To me, it does. Marcus watched them. For the first time that night, he looked genuinely ashamed. But then Tyler spoke. Marcus didn't do this alone. Daniel turned. What? Tyler looked nervous. I didn't want to say anything. Marcus snapped. Tyler. No. I'm done. Daniel looked between them. What are you talking about? Tyler took a breath. The setup wasn't just Marcus's idea. Marcus glared at him. Tyler continued. There were 4 of us. Daniel's expression hardened. Who? Tyler named 2 other friends. Daniel shook his head. I can't believe this. Monica looked at him. What else did they do? Tyler hesitated. They created a fake dating profile. Monica's face changed. What? Daniel looked at her. Why? Tyler answered. To make it look like Daniel had chosen you. Monica stared at him. So you weren't even supposed to know who I was? No. They used my pictures? Yes. Monica's eyes widened. That profile has been active for weeks. Daniel immediately looked at Marcus. You made a fake profile using her pictures? Marcus said nothing. Monica stood. This isn't a joke anymore. Daniel moved closer. I know. You let strangers see my photographs. I know. You made people think I was desperate for a relationship. Marcus looked down. I said I was sorry. Monica's voice shook. You don't get to decide when something becomes serious. Daniel gently touched the back of her chair. Monica. She turned toward him. I need to leave. I'll walk you. No. Daniel stopped. She looked at him. Not because I don't trust you. Then why? Because I need 5 minutes where nobody is making a decision for me. Daniel nodded. Okay. Monica picked up her purse. She took one last look at Marcus. Then she walked toward the exit. Daniel followed several steps behind. Outside the restaurant, the evening air was cool. Monica stood beside the curb. Daniel stopped a short distance away. You don't have to say anything. She laughed softly. You've said that twice tonight. I mean it. She looked at him. Why did you really come tonight? Daniel smiled. Because I was told there was someone I should meet. And you didn't know it was me? No. But you recognized my name. Yes. Because of your mother. Yes. Monica looked away. I thought she forgot me. She never did. Daniel reached into his jacket again. This time, he pulled out an old photograph. He handed it to her. Monica looked down. It was Evelyn, smiling. Beside her was a handwritten message. Monica read it. Her lips trembled. What does this mean? Daniel looked at her. She asked me to find you. Monica stared at him. Why? Daniel took a breath. She wanted me to tell you something she never got the chance to say. What? She said. Thank you for seeing me when everyone else looked away. Monica closed her eyes. A tear rolled down her cheek. Daniel looked helplessly at her. I'm sorry. She shook her head. No. She wiped her face. Don't be sorry. For what? For giving me something I didn't know I needed. Daniel smiled. What? To know she remembered. For several seconds, neither spoke. Then Monica looked at him. Daniel. Yes. Can I ask you something? Anything. When you saw me walk through that door tonight, what were you thinking? Daniel smiled. The truth. The truth. I was thinking, thank God she came. Monica laughed. You didn't even know me. I knew enough. She shook her head. You're dangerous. Daniel laughed. How? You make people want to believe you. Before he could answer, Monica's phone rang. She looked at the screen. Her expression immediately changed. Daniel noticed. Who is it? She didn't answer. The phone rang again. This time, she declined the call. Daniel looked concerned. Is everything okay? Monica put the phone away. Yes. You're sure? No. Daniel waited. Monica finally looked at him. There is something else you should know. What? The message I received before coming tonight. Daniel's face became serious. What message? Monica took out her phone. She opened the message. Daniel read it. It said, they aren't telling you the whole truth. Ask Daniel why he really agreed to this date. Daniel's expression changed. Monica looked at him. I thought it was part of the prank. Daniel stared at the message. So did I. But now. He shook his head. Now I'm not so sure. A car passed them. Neither moved. Monica whispered. Who sent it? Daniel looked at her. I don't know. And who else knows about tonight? Daniel's face became tense. My friends. Anyone else? He thought for a moment. Then his expression changed. My sister. Monica frowned. Why? Daniel didn't answer. Daniel. He looked toward the restaurant. His friends were still standing inside. Marcus was watching them through the glass. Then Daniel's phone buzzed. He looked at the screen. One message. From his sister. Daniel, don't take her home. We need to talk before you see Monica again. Daniel slowly raised his eyes. Monica saw his expression. What happened? Daniel looked at her. And for the first time that night, he looked genuinely frightened. My sister knew you were coming. Monica's face went pale. How? Daniel shook his head. I don't know. He looked back through the restaurant window. Marcus was no longer there. Neither was Tyler. The table was empty. Daniel's phone buzzed again. Another message. This one was from an unknown number. You should have left her alone 5 years ago. Daniel stared at the screen. Monica whispered. Daniel, who is that? He didn't answer. Because suddenly, the blind date wasn't the real mystery anymore. The real question was why someone had been waiting 5 years for Daniel to find Monica. And whatever the answer was, it had nothing to do with her wait. It had something to do with Evelyn Carter. Something Evelyn had taken to her grave. Something someone desperately wanted to keep buried. Daniel looked at Monica. We need to talk. She nodded. About what? My mother. Monica's voice became barely audible. What about her? Daniel looked toward the dark street. I think she lied to me. Daniel and Monica stood beneath the restaurant lights, neither of them speaking. The message on Daniel's phone remained open. You should have left her alone 5 years ago. Monica read it again. Then she looked at Daniel. What happened 5 years ago? Daniel shook his head. I don't know. You just said you think your mother lied to you. I know what she told me. And now you think it wasn't true? Daniel slipped the phone into his pocket. My mother spent the last 2 years of her life telling me there were things I wasn't ready to understand. Like what? She never explained. Monica folded her arms. Then maybe it's time somebody does. Daniel looked at her. You're right. His phone rang. This time, it was his sister, Rachel. Daniel answered. Rachel. Her voice was tense. Where are you? Outside the restaurant. Are you with Monica? Daniel looked at her. Yes. Rachel went silent. Then she whispered. You shouldn't be. Daniel frowned. Why? Because Mom specifically told me not to let you find her. Monica's face changed. Daniel stepped away. What are you talking about? She made me promise. Promise what? That if you ever found Monica Reynolds, I would stop you from getting involved. Daniel stared into the distance. Why? I don't know everything. Rachel. I swear. Then tell me what you do know. Rachel hesitated. Mom said Monica was connected to what happened to Dad. Daniel froze. His father. The name neither of them had mentioned. Monica watched his expression. What happened to your father? Daniel turned away. My father died 5 years ago. Monica's face became pale. When? 5 years ago. Where? Daniel looked at her. Outside his office. Monica took a step backward. Daniel noticed. Why? She shook her head. I don't know. Monica. I need to think. Daniel stepped toward her. Please. She looked at him. I remember something. What? The night I met your mother. Daniel waited. She wasn't just crying because she had lost her medication. What else? She told me someone was following her. Daniel's face tightened. Why didn't you tell me? Because I thought she was scared. What did she say? She said your father wasn't who everyone thought he was. Daniel stared at her. My father. Monica nodded. She said she was afraid of him. Daniel looked stunned. That doesn't make sense. I know. What exactly did she say? Monica closed her eyes, trying to remember. She said, if anything happens to me, don't let Daniel believe everything he hears. Daniel's breathing became heavier. Why would she say that to you? I don't know. You must know something. I don't. Her voice cracked. She wiped away a tear. I was a stranger, Daniel. She didn't know me. Daniel softened. I'm sorry. Monica shook her head. No. You deserve answers. She reached into her purse. I kept something. Daniel stared at her. What? Monica pulled out an old envelope. I didn't understand what it was at the time. She handed it to him. Daniel opened it. Inside was a photograph. His father stood outside an office building. Beside him was another man Daniel recognized. Marcus. Daniel's eyes widened. That's impossible. Monica stared at the photograph. Who's the other man? Daniel didn't answer. Marcus had always told Daniel he met him years after his father died. But the photograph proved otherwise. Marcus had known Daniel's father. And suddenly, everything changed. Daniel called him. No answer. He called again. Still nothing. Then another message arrived. This time from Marcus. Don't trust Monica. Daniel stared at the screen. Monica noticed. What did he say? Daniel showed her. She laughed bitterly. Of course. What? He's trying to make you doubt me. Daniel looked at the photograph. Maybe he's right. Monica's face fell. You believe him? I don't know what to believe. She nodded slowly. Then don't believe me. Daniel looked at her. Monica. Don't. She stepped backward. You've known me for one night. Daniel reached for her. She moved away. And you've known your friends for years. That's not fair. No, Daniel. What's not fair is expecting me to prove I'm innocent while everyone around you has been lying. She turned. Daniel watched her walk away. Monica. She stopped. He took a breath. I don't know what's happening. She looked back. Neither do I. But I know one thing. What? My mother trusted you. Monica's eyes filled with tears. And I trusted her. She walked away. Daniel stood alone. For the first time, he realized the blind date had never been about finding him a woman. It had been about bringing Monica back into his life. Someone had deliberately arranged it. Someone knew she was connected to his mother. Someone knew Daniel would recognize her name. And someone was terrified of what they might discover. The next morning, Daniel went to his sister's house. Rachel opened the door. She looked exhausted. You shouldn't have come. Daniel walked inside. Tell me everything. Rachel closed the door. I don't know everything. Then tell me what Mom told you. Rachel sat down. She said Dad was involved in something before he died. What? Money. Daniel frowned. What kind of money? Money that wasn't his. Daniel sat across from her. Did Mom accuse him of stealing? Rachel shook her head. She said he was helping someone hide it. Who? Rachel looked at him. Marcus. Daniel closed his eyes. It all made sense now. Marcus hadn't chosen Monica randomly. He had chosen her because he knew exactly who she was. Rachel continued. Mom discovered what Dad was doing, and she threatened to expose him. Daniel stared at her. What happened next? Dad died. Silence. Daniel's voice became quiet. You think he was murdered? Rachel shook her head. I don't know. But Mom did. Yes. Daniel leaned forward. What did Mom believe? Rachel hesitated. She believed Dad's death wasn't an accident. Daniel stood. Where is the evidence? Rachel looked at him. There's no evidence. Then why are you so afraid? Rachel's eyes filled with tears. Because Mom left something. What? Rachel stood and walked toward a cabinet. She opened a drawer. Then she pulled out a small black box. This was supposed to be yours. Daniel took it. Inside was a flash drive. His hands trembled. What is this? Mom's final recording. Daniel stared at it. Why didn't you give it to me? Because she told me not to. She told you not to give me her own recording? Until you found Monica. Daniel froze. What? Rachel nodded. She said you wouldn't understand it until you found her. Daniel looked at the flash drive. And now? Rachel whispered. Now I think you're finally ready. That evening, Daniel and Monica met again. Not at the restaurant. Not at either of their homes. They met in a quiet cafe. Daniel placed the flash drive on the table. Monica stared at it. What's that? My mother's final message. Did you listen to it? No. Why not? Because I want you to hear it with me. Monica looked at him. Are you sure? Yes. Daniel opened his laptop. The recording began. Evelyn's voice filled the room. Daniel, if you're hearing this, then you've found Monica. Daniel closed his eyes. Monica's hand covered her mouth. Evelyn continued. I need you to listen carefully. A pause. I didn't tell you everything about your father. Daniel looked at Monica. The recording continued. Your father wasn't the man you believed him to be. Daniel's eyes filled with tears. He was involved with people who threatened our family. Monica whispered. That's what she told me. Daniel nodded. Evelyn continued. But there was one person who helped me. A pause. Monica. Monica began crying. Evelyn's voice softened. She didn't know who I was. She didn't know what she was saving me from. She simply saw a frightened woman and chose kindness. Daniel reached for Monica's hand. She didn't pull away. Evelyn continued. Daniel, if you find her, don't judge her by what people say about her. Monica closed her eyes. Look at her heart. The recording paused. Then Evelyn said something neither of them expected. And Daniel, there is something else you need to know. Daniel leaned closer. Monica was the last person your father spoke to before he died. The recording ended. Silence. Daniel stared at Monica. She was crying. I didn't know. Daniel's voice trembled. You talked to my father? Once. When? The day before he died. What did he say? Monica shook her head. He called me. Why? I don't know. What did he want? She wiped her tears. He asked me if I still had something your mother gave me. Daniel froze. What? A key. Daniel stared at her. What key? Monica opened her purse. She pulled out a tiny brass key. I've had it for 5 years. Daniel stared at it. Why didn't you tell me? Because I never knew what it opened. Daniel reached for it. On the key was a small number. 317. He looked at Monica. Do you know what that means? She shook her head. Daniel suddenly remembered something. His father's old office had a private storage facility. Room 317. He stood. We need to go there. Monica grabbed his arm. Daniel, wait. What? What if this is exactly what they wanted? Daniel stopped. She continued. Someone arranged our meeting. Marcus. Maybe. Someone sent those messages. Exactly. And someone wants us to find this. Daniel looked at the key. Monica whispered. Maybe we're being led there. Daniel looked into her eyes. Then we go together. She nodded. But this time, we don't tell anyone. 2 days later, Daniel and Monica stood outside the storage facility. Room 317 was at the end of a dark hallway. Daniel inserted the key. The lock clicked. The door opened. Inside was a small room. Dust covered everything. Boxes lined the walls. Monica stepped inside. Daniel switched on the light. Then they saw it. A single photograph taped to the wall. It showed Daniel's father, Marcus, and another man. But the fourth person in the photograph was the one who made Monica gasp. Rachel. Daniel stared at the picture. My sister. Behind the photograph was a handwritten note. Daniel pulled it free. There were only 6 words. Ask Rachel who paid them. Monica looked at Daniel. Daniel's face went completely still. Neither of them spoke. Because the woman who had warned Daniel not to trust Monica might have been hiding the biggest secret of all. Daniel's phone suddenly rang. Rachel. He answered. Rachel. Her voice was shaking. Daniel, where are you? He looked at Monica. Then at the photograph. I'm at Dad's storage room. Silence. Then Rachel whispered. You found it. Daniel's eyes narrowed. How did you know? Rachel began crying. I was hoping you never would. Daniel gripped the phone. Rachel, what did you do? She didn't answer. Rachel. Finally, she whispered. I didn't set you up with Monica. Daniel's expression hardened. Then who did? Rachel took a shaky breath. Marcus. Daniel looked at Monica. Rachel continued. And he didn't do it to embarrass you. Then why? Her voice broke. Because he knew Monica had the key. Daniel looked at the brass key in Monica's hand. And he needed you to find her. Daniel's eyes widened. Why? Rachel whispered the words that changed everything. Because he knew your father left evidence behind. Daniel looked at Monica. What evidence? Rachel answered. Proof that Marcus was the one who betrayed your father. The call suddenly ended. Daniel and Monica stood frozen. Then footsteps echoed from the hallway outside. Slow. Heavy. Getting closer. Monica whispered. Daniel. He turned off the light. They stood silently in the darkness. The footsteps stopped outside room 317. Someone tried the door. Daniel held Monica's hand. The handle moved again. Then a man's voice came through the door. Daniel. He recognized it immediately. Marcus. Open the door. Daniel looked at Monica. Marcus knocked again. You don't understand what you're looking at. Daniel whispered. Then explain it. Marcus became silent. Then he said, You really should have listened to your sister. Daniel's eyes narrowed. What did you do? Marcus answered quietly. I did what I had to do. Daniel stepped toward the door. You used Monica. I needed the key. You humiliated her. I didn't know you'd actually care. Monica's eyes filled with tears. Marcus continued. I thought once you realized she was plus size, you'd reject her. Daniel's face hardened. But you were wrong. Yes. Marcus sighed. You were very wrong. Daniel opened the door. Marcus stood alone in the hallway. He looked at Monica, then at Daniel. And for the first time, there was no smile on his face. I owe you both an apology. Daniel stared at him. No. Marcus looked confused. Daniel stepped forward. You owe us the truth. Marcus lowered his eyes. Then he finally told them everything. The blind date had never been a joke. It had been a trap. But Marcus had made one mistake. He had underestimated the woman he used as bait. And he had underestimated the man he thought would reject her. Because instead of destroying their lives, the cruelest setup of all had brought together the two people who were finally capable of exposing the truth. Months later, the investigation into Daniel's father's financial dealings was reopened. Marcus cooperated. Rachel admitted what she had hidden. And the evidence from room 317 changed everything. But the part of the story that stayed with people wasn't the money. It wasn't the photograph. It wasn't even the betrayal. It was the moment Daniel first saw Monica walk through that restaurant door. Everyone else saw her body. Daniel saw the person. And Monica never forgot it. A year later, Daniel and Monica returned to the same restaurant. This time, there was no setup. No secret cameras. No friends waiting to laugh. Just the two of them. Daniel pulled out Monica's chair. She smiled. Do you remember the first night we came here? Daniel laughed. How could I forget? You looked terrified. I wasn't terrified. You were. I was angry. At me? Never. Monica smiled. Daniel reached across the table. You know what my mother told me? What? She said kindness is the only thing that becomes more valuable the more you give it away. Monica squeezed his hand. She was right. Daniel smiled. So were you. About what? The first night. What did I say? You said you weren't looking for somebody who needed to be convinced you were beautiful. Monica smiled. And Daniel looked into her eyes. I never needed convincing. And that was the part Marcus never understood. The prank had been built on the assumption that attraction was determined by appearance alone. But Daniel's decision had never been about ignoring Monica's appearance. He found her beautiful. He simply understood that beauty wasn't the only thing worth seeing. And perhaps that is why the setup backfired so spectacularly. Because the people who tried to embarrass Monica ended up exposing themselves. The people who thought they were testing Daniel ended up revealing their own character. And the woman they believed would be ashamed to sit at his table became the person he chose to sit beside. If this story reminded you that you should never measure someone's worth by appearance, take a moment to like this video and tell me honestly in the comments. If you were Monica and you discovered that your date had been secretly arranged as a cruel joke, would you have stayed long enough to hear Daniel out? Or would you have walked away immediately? And if you enjoyed this story, subscribe to the channel, because sometimes the person everyone underestimates is the one who changes everything.